Hi guys, welcome back to the Heel Project. This week we are talking about our season review of the Premier League. There's been a lot to talk about. It's been a very, very interesting season. In years to come, it's probably going to be a bit forgettable because it was broke up into two separate parts. But we're going to go through each team, review them, review how they've done, maybe talk about whether we think they'll finish, maybe what's going to happen over the next couple of months in the summer, and sort of see where they are come September. Pete, is it the start of the next season?
Yep, the new season. Starting in September, isn't it?
So nowhere better to start than Norwich, mate. Do we want to talk about Norwich? 20th in the table, 21 points.
You know, I'm going with Norwich because first game of the season against Liverpool, I was watching them.
Yeah.
And do you know what? They didn't look too bad. And I thought, here we go. These could be a bit of a surprise this season.
At the start of the season, there was this little bit of, because isn't their manager Fark? Is that right?
Yeah.
Isn't he another one of the guys that's come through the Borussia Dortmund reserves?
Was it?
Is there going to be a bit of a Klopp effect here? Is he going to be able to take them from the Championship to the Premier League and then keep them and sustain them?
And then they had Pookie hit the ground running. Cantwell was looking amazing. Cantwell's one of my favourite players that I never really knew of before at all. And I'd love him. I love him at Liverpool. He's an amazing player.
Yeah, he's only a young lad, so
yeah. And I thought these could be doing something this season, and then they just fell apart.
Yeah. You could see that there wasn't, I think, enough Premier League experience in that squad.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of our friends who's a Norwich fan, and I said that there wasn't enough British core to that team of experience. You need, I think, when you're fighting that, you need somebody that can obviously welcome in the foreign guys, but can also bring through the youngsters and teach them a bit easier. And I think that was lacking. When you talk in there, go on, carry on, mate.
I'm saying it's a shame because there's potential there, massive potential. Another season or two, I think they could have maybe built on that and pushed, but you're going to lose players like Cantwell and Pookie now. So.
Well, this is it. This is what I was going to ask you. Where do you see Norwich going from here, really? Because they've got a very young squad. So they've got Cantwell, they've got Aarons, they've got the left winger, they've got the left back. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but all young lads that probably will make it, and probably will make it in the Premier League at some point. But it's just a question of, do you think they'll hold on to them?
I don't think they're going to hold on to them, especially the Cantwells. I think Cantwell will go to a side top 7, 8. I think he's really got the potential to do that.
I've been thinking about this. So I think that Cantwell, I've said on our podcast before, that I think Cantwell will end up at Leicester. But I've been thinking about it. João Moutinho at Wolves is 34 now, something like that. I could easily see Wolves picking him up, taking him, because I think Moutinho's probably got one more season left in him. Playing alongside Ruben Neves, I think that'd be a good little pairing, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's what I think. What do you think they've got to do next season, though, to try and get back out of this?
Leicester, Norwich, I'm not too sure what they can. The problem is there's big teams down there already that have missed out on promotion this year.
Yeah.
And there's some big teams gone down. Some teams that I didn't think were going to go down have gone down. Yeah. I'm not sure they're going to have that. They're not going to be able to sign top players to go into the Championship. It's not going to happen. And I see them struggling to come back up straight away. There's too many big teams down there fighting to come up with good players and teams going down, as I said.
Yeah. Well,
I can't see them doing it in a minute. Another couple of seasons, maybe, chance to rebuild again, because I think they're not going to. The only way of doing it is they can keep their top players, and I can't see them doing it.
No, mate. I think, like I said, I think we can all see Cantwell being off. I think Pookie maybe.
I think Pookie will go to a mid Premier League team. He'll fit quite well there.
I think Pookie might end up somewhere like Galatasaray, somewhere like that.
They'd do really well for him.
Yeah, somewhere that's sort of Europe, but one of the big dogs, and play Champions League football. I think that'll be where he sort of ends up.
The thing is, with they've got really good players, but like I said, with that experience behind him, people like Lallana and people like that, not top players, well, brilliant players, but not first 11 players.
Yeah.
With those kind of players behind him, he would have been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
With that mix of that youngster, like you said, it's just that experience.
Well, it shows, doesn't it? 13 points. They didn't really spend. Did they buy anybody that was for? When they bought that, did they buy or loan? I can't remember which one he was. That Buendia, he's a good player. Yeah. I've got a feeling he's a loan. Correct me in the comments if he's not, but I honestly can't remember. Norwich have been quite forgettable since early November.
They said they definitely didn't really spend at all, really.
No, so I'm guessing Buendia was probably a loan then. We'll move on to the next team, 19th, Watford.
Watford shocks me with this one.
I'm so glad they've gone because they deserve everything they've got for getting rid of Pearson.
Yeah, that's the thing. They weren't, when they got rid of Pearson, they weren't even doing that bad. They were in a better position, weren't they, than when they took him on?
They were rock bottom, and I think they were getting for nearly 10 points behind.
And weren't they something like a point or two clear when he went?
They were out of the relegation zone for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a mixed one because they've got the calibre of players, the individual players they've got, and some of them were on about big money moves last season. Yeah. And they kept hold of those players. And I thought the calibre they've got were too good to go down. And I really thought that. And they're twin the downward spiral, and that shocks me.
I think looking at their squad, to be fair, I think probably half of that squad, I think, could be gone this summer. And not even gone abroad like a lot of these teams that go down. So your teams in the past have gone down. West Brom, they uploaded like nearly their entire squad abroad.
Yeah.
I could see most of that team staying in the Prem.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody takes a punt on Deeney. I wouldn't be surprised to see Foster back in, maybe as a backup goalkeeper elsewhere.
Well, Foster's done brilliant this year.
Oh, Foster was probably one of the best goalkeepers in the league.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't surprise me if he ends up as either a backup somewhere or first choice. It's maybe one of the new boys coming up, obviously. We don't know at this point who the playoff team is. But obviously, we've got Wolves and West Brom. I mean, that could be an option, but I think Sam Johnson's their goalkeeper at West Brom, the old Man U keeper. I don't think he'd probably dislodge him at the minute, but that could be an option going back to his old club, going back to West Brom. But then you're looking at the skillful players of Delafeu, Sarr. Who they got? Hughes. They've got some good defenders, and I just don't think they're going to be staying. I don't think they're going to be riding out the Championship. That's for sure.
They're too good to be. Like I said, there was some of them that were looking at big money moves last season. I just think they've managed to keep their squad this was a time to kind of push on a bit, and it's crazy. I was really surprised at this one. In our prediction videos before, I was saying Watford are far too good to go down.
And I thought as well, and I thought Pearson had saved them, and obviously something's gone on in the background. There was talks of a fight and Pearson grabbing somebody and punching somebody, but Deeney's come out and said no. But then, if I think he's hoping for a move elsewhere, so he's not going to come out as Slater manager because that doesn't look good on him.
The thing is, it's happened. How many managers have they gone through the last season?
They're owned by I can't remember their name, the family, but they own Udinese and Granada. And they are very much hire and fire club, and they don't value the manager.
No, that's destroyed Watford this season. That's cost them massively. Well, I think since Silver went, it's been a very up and down for them.
Yeah. I just don't see. We'll get to that. Yeah. We'll move on to the last relegated team. Bournemouth left the last day of the season as well. Won their game at Everton, but not enough.
No.
Did we see Bournemouth going down at the start of the season?
Not the start of the season, but then it's just been a downward spiral. I think it's one of those they impressed a lot of people last year.
Well, I think they lost a lot of people for the last 3 years, haven't they?
Yeah. And they needed. It's just what they've just got better and better. Their expectations. They prove people wrong constantly, and it was going to happen. There was a bit of a downward spiral unless they brought in players to the club.
They needed somebody to play alongside Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson was their standout player. Obviously, Josh King started coming into his own. But apart from that, attacking players, they weren't. They've not been outstanding. They bought in. I didn't get the idea of buying Billing, is his name, from Huddersfield. Huddersfield get relegated. You need an attacking player. I think he only got 3 assists all season for Huddersfield. Like, that's not good enough.
Especially when you look about, and I'm going to bring him up again because I've just mentioned him. People like Lallana.
He
would have been about
last summer.
He would have been about.
Yeah, if they came in for an offer for him last summer, then he probably would have had a chance.
Exactly, and that's the kind of player I always thought really would have suited Bournemouth.
Yeah.
They just never built on what they had enough to stay out for me, and it was gonna catch up with them eventually.
Silly transfers, I think, comes to mind with Bournemouth as well. They spent a lot of money on Ibe, which
he
looked promising, but he was very clear he was never going to make it.
No, he's
not. Then they spent big money on Solanke as well from us.
Yeah.
And then in the past, they spent big money on Brad Smith from Liverpool as well, back at the left back. And I don't think he even made it to their first team before he got released.
No, Solanke was another one that had promise, but never really shone. He's
not Prem level. It's that simple. He might do well in the Championship team, or he might do well for them if he stay. For him, Solanke's got to stay. If Solanke stays, I think he'll be Eddie Howe's starting striker regardless, because I think Wilson's gone. I think Josh King's gone.
Yeah, Wilson's definitely gone.
I could see a couple of the defenders go in. I think they'll probably keep the young keeper, because he's obviously only broke through this season. So they still got a decent little base to go off of.
Yeah. Does that mean the foundations are there?
Yeah. So out of those 3, Bournemouth, Watford, Norwich. So 34 points, 21 points. Where do we think they're going to finish next season? Can we see any of them coming back up? First time of asking. Does any of them have the sort of the capacity behind them to come straight back up at first time of asking? Because obviously, Championship's the hardest league in the world, I would say.
It is. Yeah. I'd like to say the only team out of those 3 would be Bournemouth, because I can't see Watford. I can see Watford squad totally changing by the time they come back up.
Yeah.
I would have said Watford hands down, but their squad isn't going to stay there.
Yeah.
The only one that's got a bit of a foundation there is Bournemouth for me, because Norwich key players, they're going to go as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Bournemouth, as long as they're keeping Howe, which I think they should, I think he has the right to, because I don't think, from as far as I'm aware, transfers weren't down to Eddie Howe. He asked for players, and it wasn't down to how much they were paying for the players. So it's one thing I'm saying, I want Jordan Ibe, I want Solanke, but it's another thing them going out and paying 25 mil for.
Exactly. It's no way it should have been there.
Yeah. The thing is, I can see Watford ending up as a Nottingham Forest. So a team that are always rebuilding and are never getting there. I can see Norwich being a Derby and slowly getting back up. And they were sort of bottom half of the table for a while. Now they're sort of always around the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I can see Bournemouth doing a West Brom. So yo-yo, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah? You agree with that?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. The only ones I can see, like I said, Bournemouth. The rest just can't be seeing it for me at the minute.
Yeah. I think there's too many things going on.
Yeah.
We'll move on to the 2 teams that were relatively avoided relegation. Villa, West Ham. So Villa last day of the season, West Ham were only 5 points clear in the end, which for a team of West Ham's stature and the West Ham way, if we even know what the hell that is anymore, or if we ever knew what that was, they're 2 big teams that probably shouldn't be down there anymore. The size of the clubs themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Villa have done well to come up and survive their first season. Where do they go from there?
Now, it all depends on one thing. Well, I think they're going to keep him now. It's Jack Grealish. He's going to be their person to even sign players. We're going to rebuild. We've got Grealish. We're building. If they lost him, Villa will finish from personally. From even if he isn't involved as much as I'd want him to be, and don't score as much as I'd want him to. And the thing is, he's their kind of gel. He's their glue for that Villa squad.
Yeah, definitely.
And I tell you what, I thought they were dead and buried. Honestly, I thought.
Yeah, me too.
So to then put it back and even get some results towards the end of the season to get those points, they deserve it for that. I think their celebration was a bit crazy. Just for yeah.
But it was that said it. Roy Keane, he says you've avoided relegation. It was on Sky Sports. You've avoided relegation. You haven't won the league. Why the hell are you cheering? You shouldn't be in that position in the first place.
Right. I think they've got to go out and they've got to buy a couple of players.
Yeah, 100%.
They need a bit of a goal scorer there. For me, it's just they need that's the thing. They wasn't scoring goals. Sort that a little bit out. Get a goal scorer in there. I tell you what, they would have saved a lot of points because a lot of games that I've watched Villa play, they were really, really dull games. If they had a goal scorer in there, just a poacher, he would sit there getting even 10, 15 goals a season.
Yeah, well, that's what got them up to the Premiership in the first place. They had Tammy Abraham on loan, didn't they?
Yeah.
They need somebody of that level. I can see a perfect one for them for a loan, even for a loan next season, which is Leicester's Iheanacho.
Yeah.
I can see him go and try and get these players. Go and try and get a decent striker from a rival team. They'll come in rather than these unknowns that come from the Belgian leagues or wherever. I say unknowns, they're obviously not unknowns, but they're unknown how they'll adapt to the Prem. The thing I find mad about Villa, I haven't mentioned this to you, Villa should be down. Bournemouth should have survived. Do you know why?
This is the goal.
The VAR goal that was clearly a goal, and even Green came out and said that it was a goal.
Yeah.
If they had conceded that, they would have lost. They would have lost to Sheffield United on that day, on the first game back after the break, and they would have been sat on 33 points, which would have actually put them below Watford as well. So Watford would have been sat in 18th, Villa in 19th, Norwich in 20th, and Bournemouth would have survived.
The thing is, it's crazy. And they were saying, do you remember they were saying when this happened, if this affects into the season, there's going to be absolute uproar. You're the first person I've heard mention it since.
Yeah. Well, the problem is there's a lot.
There's nothing they can do now.
Yeah, no. There was nothing you could do in the first place.
No.
They're not going to get any compensation like Sheffield United did all those years ago for the Tevez saga because there's technically nothing wrong. It was just bad refereeing and whatever the hell's going on with touchline goal line technology at that point. But I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So 16th, 15th, 14th, we had West Ham, Brighton, Palace. Was this just a real season to forget for all three of them?
Yeah, West Ham. West Ham have done me in.
I can't remember a single highlight for West Ham this season.
So didn't West Ham get a result against one of the top? Was it City or someone? I can't even remember.
Potentially, but then Norwich did at some point as well, didn't they? They beat City.
Yeah, true. But yeah, they were. For me, it was those three teams. West Ham, people in there I thought would really shine this year. They haven't. Who else was in at Palace? Zaha. I look at every year going, are we going to get another as good year for Zaha? No, flop again for me. Yeah,
he's. Everyone talks about him being a top 16, top 6 player. I think he's at his level.
Yeah.
I don't think he's good enough. Regardless,
he's not shown any different.
I think if you had a player that was that good at that level, then he would shine every game, or at least every let's say 2 in 3 games he shines. He doesn't. He's not good enough to be higher than that. I think he's even a Europa League player. He wouldn't get, for me, he wouldn't even get into the Arsenal team. And I know that's probably controversial, sat in 8th, but I don't think he's good enough. He's not consistent enough. He is Palace's Ozil.
Yeah. Well, I always get frustrated because everyone said I always see how good he is and he's getting these big money moves, and I just couldn't see it myself. I can't see why myself, and it frustrates me.
Yeah, I think he'd be a waste of money for everybody. Those three teams, well, are they just all similar that they've got to go out and buy well in the summer to push on, or do they? How do you think? Because who was it that I saw? Somebody said about David Moyes at West Ham. Give him a chance, and he might he should be able to rebuild something at West Ham because he did well in his first spell.
Yeah,
and I know a few West Ham fans, and they said, "Well, I'm not be sure why we actually sacked him or let him go." Like the job he was doing was perfectly fine. It was one of those where we were mid-table. That's sort of where we've become now. So what's the problem?
The thing is, if they got, you think there's no where Palace have say they got their Zaha, their star player.
Yeah.
There's no one really like that at West Ham at the minute for me. And if they could pick up a player that a kind of a leader, like, not a leader because you've got Noble there, but if you've got a star man at West Ham, if they manage to undig their little star man, I think you could see them pushing up again to top half the table for me.
Because they had it with Payet.
Yeah.
They had it what we thought might happen with Lanzini, and he sort of fizzled off.
Yeah, but like you said, another Payet, that would push them up to top half of the table, possibly pushing Europa spot for me.
Yeah, at least.
That's what they're missing.
Brighton, I think, have already made one of the signings of next season.
I was really shocked at this, and I think he'll do really, really well.
I was very surprised that he didn't go to somebody different. I'm surprised that he didn't get his move back to Southampton. I thought they might have come in for him. I'm surprised a team like Wolves, or I was convinced he was going to Leicester back with Brendan.
Yeah, it would have been a good shot.
There he would get Europa League football. But he's gone to be a big fish in a small pond. And some of that Brighton team I actually quite like. And I think that could be a really good move. I think they need one more player like that. And I could easily see them finishing mid-table, if not higher. Because I really like their manager as well, Potter.
Lallana's a player I've always rated. And I felt bad because Liverpool's midfield have become so strong. And with the way we use our wingers, there was no way he was going to get into that squad.
No.
We don't even really use the wingers now. Our fullbacks, the way we use our fullbacks, there's no way he was going to get in there. And I felt really bad because I think he's a really, really good player. But
I think he's good enough. And I know a lot of people slate him, say that he's not good enough. I think he is. I think he's good enough to be a Champions League player. But actually, he needed to move for the sake of it, for the sake of himself, because obviously his career was starting in Liverpool, even though he was winning things.
Yeah, he needs to go into a squad where he'll play, and you need to go into a formation where he's going to play, and that's never going to happen at Liverpool now.
Whereas I feel like they'll have a couple of the other lads at Brighton, and they can really build a team around Lallana as long as he can stay fit.
Yeah.
And especially that he's moved back towards home, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, 2 seasons ago, I think it was, when he was actually playing regular football, before we changed our formation, he was almost a regular starter for Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the time we were pushing for title still. And we were on a nice title run. He was a first team starter.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget he's in his 30s now, but he's a very good player, because I think he'll be good for Brighton because he was captain for Southampton in League One.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that he was captain for them in League One, and he brought them from League One to the Prem, alongside your Fonts, your Yoshidas, your Lamberts. They all did well. But Lallana was their driving force from very early on.
Yeah, he's got a good footballing brain to him as well.
Sorry, mate?
He's got a good footballing brain to him as well. You can see with some of the passes he used to pick out.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he'll do well.
I think him and Mapai could link up nicely. I think Murray's probably going to retire this season, but I think that Neil Mapai will be quite good. We'll move on then to 13. So the teams, we'll sort of move around to the mid-table teams. So Everton, Southampton, Burnley, and the team that finished a bit lower than we were hoping, Sheffield United.
Yeah.
We'll start with Everton. I think Ancelotti's done a job.
Do you know what? I think of Everton. He ain't done a bad job. But I just think back of someone I was so jealous of moving to Everton, and I thought, oh no, we're in trouble here. When they signed Pickford, at the time we didn't have Alisson.
Oh
when
yeah,
Pickford was going, I thought they've done a cracker here. I look at it now and I find it the most comical thing going. Whenever I see Pickford, it just does me in now. That's supposed to be really England's number one, number two.
I've missed Newcastle as well. I do apologise, Newcastle fans. So we got Newcastle in that mix as well.
Yeah, but Everton. No one shone again. Not one player has really shone.
I disagree. I think there's one that's come on, and I come on really well, and that's Calvert-Lewin. But is that because I think that's maybe a real help in that Ancelotti's taken a real liking to him, and that he's made it very clear that Calvert-Lewin's going to be his starting striker for their rebuild.
Yeah, I just can't see them going out. I used to watch. I remember Everton when they were a bit of a force.
Yeah.
And just looking at them now, it's just they've gone on such a downward spiral, and quite quickly, really.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's done it for me. I'm every team that I can't see pushing their way back up. For me, there's better teams below.
Do you think they're going to end up a Villa?
I could see them down there.
And West Ham eventually maybe even slipping out.
Yep. Yeah, I could see, like I said, there's much better teams down there, and there's better teams trying to rebuild, and they're in that rebuilding phase already.
I think they've made the right move in signing getting Ancelotti in, though, because that's what a way to commit to try and, right, actually, we're in a bit of a slump here. Let's go out, get arguably one of the best managers of the last 20 years.
They've definitely done it to get their fans on side. The only other person they could have got to change that was Moyes, for me.
Yeah, but then I think a lot of the Everton fans would have considered it as like a backward step nowadays, you know.
But no, they're definitely done right move to get the fans on side.
Yeah. Newcastle. Is this takeover ever going to happen?
I really hope it does for them, because I don't mind Newcastle as a team. And some of their players, Shaw is absolutely cracking player. Players with a couple of good players in there, they could do some damage.
Yeah, I think they need the takeover to happen because they're going to lose their players.
Yeah,
they're going to lose that winger. What's his name? Saint Maxime or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
They're going to lose him. They're going to lose any of their players. If they lose to Bravka, their goalkeeper, they'll be in trouble.
Yeah. The thing is, this is another team I'm saying, Everton are on a downward spiral. Newcastle, with a couple of players, they could be pushing right back up again for me. They've gone through a rebuilding phase for me.
Will they do that with Bruce, though?
I think there's better managers out there than Steve Bruce for me.
Me too. Completely agree. I think if you're going in for a takeover, you've got to get in Rafa again.
Rafa done really well for me there. I like the way
I just couldn't believe he took the job in the first place.
Yeah.
The fact that they were pretty much down already, and then somehow, what did they finish? Like 2 or 3 points off of safety.
Yeah.
And I was like, how on earth have you done that with that Newcastle team? The only person that was doing well that season was Lascelles, and that was only since when Rafa came in.
This is what I mean. They've gone through that stage of, right, we've got one player, let's build it around him. There's now to get a nice little group in there at the minute. Yeah, a lot of their players' positions could improve, but they're starting to get that base now. So they'll be able to build that, and I really think there's a good chance for Newcastle to do well.
Yeah. 2 teams that were looking like they were going to be in the relegation battle, and they've sort of had that really late surge and pushed themselves right back up again, which was Burnley and Southampton. Southampton were down there for the longest time, and I'm thinking, oh God, they're not going to go, are they? Of course, they've gone, and they've ended up on 52 and 54 points respectively. So that they've ended up well clear. What do you think of that season?
For next season,
No, what do you think of the season they've had this year?
Season? Southampton, there's a player in there that I always like the look of. And I've wanted to see do well for ages. So I've always thought he had massive potential. And that's Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
And I really want to see him just have his moment, because there's so many times he shines and then he goes on a bit of a run. You're like, oh, this kid could be good. And then he dies off for me. And it's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
Because I always thought I'd see him somewhere like Arsenal, to be honest.
Funnily enough, actually, back in the day, I thought he was the West Ham replacement for Noble, but obviously that would be a downward step for him nowadays. Probably, I would say. I mean, technically, he probably could get bigger wages at West Ham, but probably wouldn't be a lot different nowadays. Yeah, I think if he was going to have his move, he'd have had it a while ago. I could easily see Ward-Prowse staying forever now.
Yes. Other than that,
Danny Ings has been.
Oh yeah, Danny Ings. Sorry, yeah.
What?
What is it? Didn't he golden boot again this year?
No, he was. I think he was 2 goals off. Jamie Vardy got golden boot this year.
Vardy got golden boot. That was it. Yeah. Do you think? Hold on, Jamie Vardy, Danny Ings. These are players we're talking about for golden boot this year. It's crazy, isn't it?
But it bodes as well for the Euros for next summer.
Yeah,
because the Euros have now been moved to next summer.
And do you know, I like to see Danny Ings get his get the way he's done this season. When he left Liverpool, he come in Liverpool with high potential. He never really got his chance, and now to go there and perform like this again, he deserves it.
My problem with Danny Ings, we bought him a year after he got promoted. Yeah. A year. He had 1 season in the Prem. And we bought him for big money.
Yeah.
Big. No, did we actually? No, I don't think we did. I think his contract ran out, didn't he? And I think we actually picked him up on a free from Burnley. I may be completely wrong. Somebody correct me, but I had this thought about it just then. I may be completely wrong. That could have happened on a Football Manager, say, for me at some point. But if they hold on to him, because is he there permanently now?
Yeah, I can't see him not go. I can't see him going anywhere. I think he's happy. He seems like he's playing. You could tell when a player's happy, they play the football that he has this season. There's no way if a player was not happy, he would play like that, scoring goals.
Not a chance. And
he seems happy. They're obviously more than happy with him. I think he's found his perfect place at the minute.
Yeah.
And he's getting top recognition as well.
Yeah, and you could easily see him pushing on and being higher in the league even than that. Southampton with him. I think
he's a player that's seen that side and gone to the bigger clubs and been a smaller fish in a bigger pond.
Mm-hmm.
At the minute, he's there and he's the number 1 player, and so I think he's happy there.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're thinking there's probably going to finish the same sort of position next season, though?
Yeah, I can't see him unless they go and get gone.
Aim for mid-table sort of position?
Yeah, I think that's a good place for them. I can't see them pushing up any higher, but I definitely can't see unless they have a really, really bad season, I can't see them being relegation warriors at all.
No.
I think this year was a bit of a disappointment, just being in contention for being down there for those teams.
Yeah. The other one obviously that was in contention for that relegation was Burnley. They're a funny team, aren't they? They haven't got any standout players, players that are really clearly better. Pope's obviously come on, but I still wouldn't say I think he's at his level. Tarkowski's there. I think he's at his level.
They just work well as a team.
I think they're probably one of the. Well, I was going to say they're probably the best team in the league for teamwork, but we'll get onto that one next, I expect. But I think they've had an okay season. I think any other club, I think that manager might have been sacked if it wasn't Burnley. If that had been a Watford, that manager would have been gone and they could have been down now. But Burnley gave Dyche a chance and proved them right again.
The thing is, this is my worry with Bournemouth. There's no top people there. And if everyone else keeps on growing, and I just worry about Burnley getting left behind a bit. That's my worry. I can see Burnley starting to drop. If everyone else starts to pick up and makes that step up, you've got your Newcastle and Everton in that rebuilding stage.
Yeah, I think they could probably do with going out and signing, trying to get that Cantwell.
Definitely.
That off. Do you imagine if they suddenly got Pookie?
Yeah,
Pookie's a good. Pookie works hard, and I'm a bit of a Celtic lover as well, and he was crap for Celtic. He was absolutely woeful years ago, and he's a different player, completely different player now.
If they went out and signed a couple of players to try and boost it and a bit of a name for them, they'll do well. Because, like I said, they've got to be in that rebuilding phase as well at the minute. Otherwise, they will get left behind. That's my worry.
Completely agree. Right, then next up was Sheffield United. What season they've had?
Yeah, I think they were punching a bit for most of the season. I think everyone was just hopeful for a bit of a fairy tale ending, and I think reality hit for me, to be honest.
If they could have had a European place, I would have been so happy for them. But 9th for your first season back in the Prem after what? How many years it was? Like 10 years.
Yeah.
Mental, crazy, and I've been thinking about this morning. I can't think of any standout year moments for them this season.
No.
Just been consistently good, and they've had consistently good team performance. For me, this is the most sort of gelled together team of the season.
Yeah, they've stuck together. They've done what they're doing. 9th place is mad, isn't it?
For Sheffield United.
And you think some of the teams that have finished below them that we've already spoke about.
Yeah. And I would have had Sheffield United maybe as a dead cert at the start of the season to go down. So who came up last year? Oh, Villa was the other one, wasn't it? So I would have looked at it. I would have gone Sheffield United and Norwich, 2 dead certs to go straight back down.
I would have just said I would have thought they would have been relegation massively gone already.
And I would have had them around the same position as Norwich. And there is, how many is that? There's 33-point difference between Sheffield United and Norwich. And that's big, man. That's big.
Relegation battle points themselves.
Yeah. But that's well, actually, the difference between Sheffield United and Norwich would only put them 1 point behind where Watford finished.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so they just stupid level. What do you think is going to happen with them next season, though? Where do they go? Because they're still not a big club.
No, I can't.
You can get crazy big players.
This is the thing. I really don't know what's going to happen with them. I don't think anyone could predict what's going to happen with them. Like I said, they've massively beat everyone's expectations. Overachieved everyone's expectations. And they can either go out and try and get these players like the Cantwells and people like that. They can go out and try and get them. Or they can try and stay as they are and have a good chance of dropping massively.
Yeah.
And it all depends how they're going to go with it. Are they going to spend the money? Is there money there to spend? Are they going to do it? Players like Lallana would have been good. He's gone to Brighton for pennies, if not free, isn't he?
He went free, mate. End of contract.
That's what I mean. There's players there, and there's still players out there at the minute that you could have a decent squad of 3 players at the minute and very, very cheap players. If they went out and brought some of these and acquired some of these on for free, I could see them doing well. But it's just seeing if they're going to spend, if they're going to get new people in, or they can try and not disrupt what they've got already.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. To be fair, it's just I think if they aim for avoid relegation and they achieve that, then they've had a good season next year, regardless of whether they finish this year. They aren't the first team that have come straight up and done this well. We've had it in the past. Wigan have done it. Before that, Reading did it. And I think they just need to be very careful of where they are and not thinking they're bigger than what they are.
Yeah.
If you finish 17th, you've done well.
Yeah. They've just got to put this season behind them now and just push forward for next season. Totally new, fresh season.
Don't get me wrong, Wilder's done Wilder, however you say it, has done an absolutely superb, because it wasn't that long ago they were in League One, and he's took them from League One pretty much straight up. Maybe a year or two that he didn't. I can't quite remember, but I think he's done probably. Well, we'll get to it. But he's probably done the best league, the best job in the league this year.
Yeah, definitely. Just no one would have predicted that. No one. To get a team with, like you said again, with no standout players, to push them for what we thought was going to be a European spot for a while. He's done immense. Yeah.
Right, so we're moving currently on to a team that currently don't have Europe. Sat in 8, Arsenal.
Yeah.
What a weird season they've had.
Yeah.
Right off, they should, obviously, the start of the season with Unai Emery, he just woeful. I think since Arteta's taken over, there's been signs of good stuff. And I think they're going to give him a lot of time to rebuild this team.
And the thing is, they're quite, because of the calibre of the club, their rebuilding stage shouldn't take too long. They've got some massively key players in there already.
Yeah.
And for me, it's whether they can keep them.
Yeah.
If you can keep someone like a Aubameyang this season, I tell you what, next season they could have this team rebuilt in a season or two. For me,
it wouldn't surprise me if they can keep Aubameyang, keep Lacazette, keep the likes of Bellerin, because Bellerin always gets linked with Barcelona at some point. I could easily see them finishing top 4.
Yeah, definitely.
Because have you seen the news of who they've given them their number 7 shirt to for next season?
Well, no.
They've given Saka the number 7 shirt already.
Have they?
Yeah. Arteta's going big, and he's gone, right, I'm building the squad around you. He's given Saliba, from who's back out on loan to Saint-Etienne, he's been given the number 4 shirt. So he's made it very clear about who he's rebuilding the squad with next season.
The thing is, he's been on loan, and I really, really, really like him as a player.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, if they turn that into a full permanent deal.
You want about Ceballos?
Ceballos.
Yeah. If they keep him, then they'll have I believe that Ceballos has asked for Real Madrid to let him have another loan.
Tell you what, I could see them really pushing next season. To the point was, I was looking at some of the odds earlier, and it really, really shocked me, because Arsenal were 5th favourites for the league. Guess what the odds are?
Well, 5th?
Yeah, fifth favourites for the Premier League next season.
8-1?
66-1 for Arsenal.
For 5th?
For fifth favourites.
Yeah.
5th favourites for the league. 66-1.
Please tell me Leeds haven't snuck in and got 4th or something.
No, because I tell you, the teams above them is City's, Liverpool, United, and Chelsea.
God.
Spurs and Arsenal are both 66-1 for the league. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? Arsenal got a couple of players go on a bit of a run next year. Maybe the league's a bit of a push, but I'll tell you what, 66-1.
I tell you, if they win the Europa League, not if they win the Europa League, if they win the FA Cup, then there's a chance, that they could go out and buy a couple more big players. People will come because of Arteta now.
Yeah, and the thing is, they start off really bad. If you start off on the front foot in the Premier League, it's once you get a bit of momentum behind you, it's easily to carry it on.
Yeah, so I think we're both in agreement that we can both see them finishing higher than what they will have finished this season. Arteta seems to be building his own. Another team, we'll move on then. Another team that's had an absolutely outstanding season again. Wolves, 7th. So what's that? Is that 8th and 7th? No, it couldn't have been 8th. It must have been 8th. It's 2 7s in a row, I think, for them.
I remember when they were coming up. Yeah, I remember when they first come up, and me and my cousin, who's a big football fan, was chatting, and he said to me, "I tell you what, I could see Wolves pushing for Champions League," and I went, "No, don't be silly." And he went, "No, seriously, I could see him pushing for Champions League soon." And then 2 European spots in 2 years, kind of Shocks me a bit.
Yeah.
It's not even like they've done really bad in Europe. They went out in Europe. They had a few dodgy games, but they had a few really quite storming games.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, completely. Yeah. So from Wolves, did you know that they can actually still get Champions League this year for next season?
Go on.
If they win the Europa League, which they're still in, which they've been in since very early, haven't they?
Yeah.
Which I think, look at their squad, they've got a good chance. They'll get Champions League.
Yeah. I forgot. I forgot Wolves are still even in it.
Yeah, Wolves are still in the Europa League, and I wouldn't bet against them, you know.
I tell you what,
they've got a good squad. They've got a very good squad that would do very well in the European competition.
Yeah, well, even Troy, he's another one that's been linked with Liverpool, and you've got a few of their players that have really been linked with big clubs, and it kind of shows that there's a good team in there. Considering this, he couldn't even get in the team he couldn't even get a starting spot first half of the season.
Yeah, it's again same players. I would love a Spurs to have Ruben Neves. Jimenez has been linked with Juventus. I think that shows you the caliber they've done, how well they've done this season.
They spent big straight away, and it's proved worth.
Well, they spent big in the Championship, and the thing is, I thought this isn't going to work. But they've not really spent crazy big since they've got in the Prem.
No, I think they kind of spent big in the Championship, built their squad there, so they were used to each other, and then brought them up.
Yeah, and then they brought in one or two, but like they've not spent big. Don't get me wrong, they spent big on having Martinho's wages and that. But yeah, they haven't gone crazy, and they're probably at their means now, being in seventh, getting Europa League consistently.
They've shot past a lot of quality teams.
Sad news for them though, is if they don't win the Europa League, Arsenal win the FA Cup, they don't get Europe this next season. So that will be a huge turning point for them, because I think a lot of players could be asking, I'm off now. I'm off.
Yeah, I think it'll be one of those that'll be next season will be a make or break for them, because I could see players standing around for one more season, see if we can do it, and then if not, there'll be a bit of a demise. Yeah.
So we're sort of moving on to, again, probably another team that's not had the year that expected, with Mourinho in charge, 6th place. Spurs actually finished on the exact same points as Wolves, 59.
Spurs have been a team, for me, they're a bit of a mixed one for me, to be honest. You've had people that shone a couple of years ago, like Dele Alli and that. Mm-hmm. And he was playing out of his skin, and now it's just he's become an average player in that league, in that team now. For me, he doesn't stand out. Harry Kane has been unlucky with injuries.
That's always going to be his problem. He's a little bit crocked, isn't he?
Yeah. Son, he's had a season that you always expect with Son.
Yeah, he's solid.
Yeah. For me, they've just not really shone as much this year. They've been unlucky a few bits, but
they haven't got a big squad, but there's a lot of dead wood they need to get rid of.
Yeah.
It's clear that players like Vertonghen aren't what they used to be.
Yeah.
Even Dele Alli himself, I could see them being better off without him.
Yeah, this season for me, he's done nothing for me this year.
Like, would they be better off? And this probably controversial, but I think they probably would be. I think they'd be better off if they did a straight swap with Jack Grealish.
See it working.
I think they'd be better off with Grealish over Ali, because at least Grealish is consistent and he works hard.
Yeah, I can't see Spurs. They're not going out and buying any players for me.
They never have.
No, I could see them. I can see definitely. So everyone was saying they've become one of the biggest team in London out of the Arsenal Tottenham. I can definitely see Arsenal destroying that now, coming back, because they're in that rebuilding phase where Spurs just seem quite. For me, they seem quite happy where they are.
Yeah, for me, it's right at the top anyway. Would you rather have Mourinho as your manager, or would you rather have Arteta as your manager? I know which one I'd rather play for, and it isn't Mourinho.
No. I just see Tottenham, for me, just seem happy where they are at the minute. They're not trying to change too much. Where Arsenal are on that level and saying that they need to rebuild their squad.
Yeah,
that's for me.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're sort of on agreement with that one again. Leicester, sad one really. I would have loved to have seen them finish second. I would have loved to have seen them finish second, like they looked like they might have done. I think I said in a previous podcast we did, I'm sure they're going to finish at least third. Chelsea fourth, Man City second, and the fifth. 62 points. And they finished 4 points off of Chelsea in the end.
I'll tell you what, Leicester. It was another bit of fairy tale story, but I think they've overachieved for me, deservedly.
Don't get me wrong, they've overachieved.
And I think I would have been. I think I would have been a bit gutted if they did finish that high up. For me,
oh, really?
I like the teams that have been rebuilding at the minute. For me, I always remember when people were going, "Oh my God, Leicester are your champions of England," and it was a bit like, "Yeah, okay." And even now, to see Man United have picked up a bit, and I think it gets me excited for next season. To be honest, mainly seeing these teams that have picked back up again.
And then we are throwing Leicester into that mix as well, and you're thinking, "Oh, hang on, are we starting to look at as our top 6? Are we actually starting to look at a top 8 here?" Because Leicester and Wolves that's 2 seasons in a row they've been round it, and Leicester have obviously got way better. They've got some good players. They've got a damn good manager.
I think if they can do it next season, a bit up there, then we can't rule them out from that no more. We've got to start counting.
Completely agree.
These are the people at the Cantwells I'd like to see. Take Leicester, the Wolves. These are the players I want to see take players like Cantwell.
Is this the team that needs Pookie? Vardy's 33 now? Yes, he got Golden Boot. Yes, he's probably got another good season in him.
Is he going to be Golden Boot potential next season?
And also, is Vardy? He doesn't strike me as the person, because he's been there. He's done it in every league.
Yeah. There's
no need for him to then see out his playing careers in a lower division. Vardy could finish at the top if he wanted to.
Yeah, he could turn around and give up that. Because he's, like you said, he's done it at non-league level all the way out.
Yeah. So I could easily see him saying, "Do you know what? That's me done now."
Yeah.
He hasn't international to worry about because he's not in consideration for international anymore.
Finish with Golden Boot winner.
Yeah. I mean, I think, don't get me wrong, I think he'll do next season. But I wouldn't be shocked if he went, "Yeah, I'm done, lads." Yeah. Or if they had somebody that was in the wings waiting.
Yeah.
But so somebody, maybe not Pookie, because Pookie's not that much younger than him. And I can see him going, "No, I'm done. Don't need it." We'll move on to one I think is a very underrated squad this season, that actually their manager's done a blooming superb job. 4th place, Chelsea. They had a new manager, first time managing in the Premier League. Only had, 1 season at Derby? Transfer ban. Couldn't sign a single player. You've got Abramovich's millions behind you, but you couldn't sign a single player. Yes, you had Pulisic coming in, but that's the only one that came in at the start of the season. Yeah. And Kovacic, but he was there the previous season. Has he done a really underrated job, Frank Lampard?
I'll tell you what, this will show you. Didn't I say on the odds for next season, Arsenal was 66-1, Spurs was 60-1. Chelsea were next favourites.
Yeah.
At 14-1.
Wow.
That says it all.
Yeah, I think he's done an absolutely amazing job to just even, because they were looking like they might finish European places, and everyone was thinking, what, Europa League for Chelsea, transfer ban, new manager, because Lampard was always going to get a chance because he's always going to have the fans back in. And you're thinking, he's done quite a good job. Yeah. Then they started pushing up, and they ended up, they were in 3rd at one point. Everyone's thinking, he's done a bloody amazing job here. What's going on?
It's just a rebuilding, because you look at the players they've signed already for next season.
Yeah. So they've got Ziyech and Werner coming in, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've then then talking the age of Hudson-Odoi, Pulisic, Mount, Reece James, Tomori, Abraham. You're thinking, wow, it's a swab.
And there's rumours going around about their goalkeeping situation already.
Yeah. Any idea who's been linked with them? Is it Oblak?
What's that?
Is it Oblak that's been linked with them?
Yeah. And I think he's one of the he is one of the best young goalkeepers you can get at the minute.
Oblak for me is the best goalkeeper outside of the Premier League.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if Chelsea get him, there's a whole squad's being rebuilt at the minute.
Yeah. The thing is, though, do Chelsea really need to go out and sign that big? You look one place below them, Kasper Schmeichel. Go down to 7th, Rui Patricio. You need to go to 9th, Sheffield United, Dean Henderson, who's obviously going back to Man U on loan. You could sign all 3 of them, and I think you'd have a massive improvement. Go down to Newcastle, to Bravka.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, actually, I think all of those would do an absolutely outstanding job at Chelsea.
I think Oblak for me, he's behind Alisson. He's my favourite.
Do not get me wrong. Yeah. Oblak will be an absolutely superb signing, but you've got to pay for him.
They're going to be paying mega money for him. I think even more of. I think they could. They know they can get the Schmeichels and people like that. I think this is more for an intent as well to show them, look, this could be the best goalkeeper in the world. We're going to go and get him. Yeah.
I completely agree. Completely agree, to be fair.
And I tell you what, Chelsea could be scary next year.
Well, I said if, as it happens, Man City's transfer ban has been lifted now. Yeah. I said if their transfer ban didn't get lifted, then I could have easily seen Chelsea being the ones that would win the league next season, because I wouldn't be surprised, because as always, the Premier League champions usually stagnate for the first month or two. Mm. It's very rare that they hit it running immediately. We've only had it probably 3 times in the last 20 years, which is why I wouldn't have been surprised if Liverpool didn't go on to retain it, even though I'm a Liverpool fan.
With Abramovich, what's happened? Abramovich is going to go out and just spend.
The thing is, with Chelsea, I don't think they need to. No. They've got the players. They need a centre back. Don't get me wrong. They need a big name centre back coming in. Realistically, is that anybody in the Prem? Just looking at the teams, probably not.
No one looking.
No. From what I heard, there's a good free transfer available. I don't know if you've heard. I think he's getting on a bit though, but I think he'd still do a better job than what they've currently got. And that's Thiago Silva's available on a free, apparently. Thiago Silva has been told that he's not available. He's not needed for next season, and I believe his contract runs out in August.
You could see him doing a job for a season or two there. Definitely.
He would be the nearest thing that Chelsea have had for a long time to John Terry.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think that would be a good one. Imagine that Tomori, Rudiger, and Thiago Silva. You'd have the running of those two either side of him. You'd be laughing. So yeah, we think of it. They're going to do well. They've had an absolutely superb season then.
And what I've liked about Chelsea as well, I've got to say, is Lampard's passion. I remember watching the Liverpool-Chelsea game.
Yeah.
And his passion come across then. I think that's exactly what they need. He's well suited. He loves Chelsea.
Yeah, through and through. Third, a team that I never thought I'd see third. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a manager that I'm still like the verdict's out on for me. His Cardiff spell as manager, I will go down and say now is the worst managerial spell in the Premier League history, bar none. He was absolutely woeful. He was clueless. Tactical knowledge was shocking. I went to a match that he was manager, and you could see that the players were confused on the pitch. Like, what does that help? Like, it was woeful. And now for him to be sat in third with Man U and actually probably been the best team, alongside Liverpool and Man City, I suppose. He's been the best team since the restart.
Oh, definitely.
They've been nuts. Phenomenal.
And I think they're only going to get, it frustrates me, but they're only going to get stronger.
As long as you don't end up with your Di Marias signings, your Falcaos.
Yeah.
I know this is going to be controversial, but yeah, Pogba's. I still don't rate Pogba stuff. He's not a Man U player. He'd probably do a better job in a Real Madrid team.
I think what frustrates me is I watched him at Juventus, and the guy was absolutely amazing. He's one of those,
outside of the top 8 in Italy, basically a bunch of farmers, isn't it? I mean, it's not as the French league, but it's not strong. So you're playing against a lot weaker teams.
Even his work rate over in Italy, you could see he wanted it, and I think that's what's different here. You see him since he's had a couple of starts after the restart. You could see that want has been there again. For most of the season, it just looked like he didn't care for me. And I don't think he was unhappy or what, but he just didn't care for me.
For me, they don't need him anymore. I'd offload him. You've got your player to build your squad round now.
Yeah,
they bought well in January. They bought really well.
Yeah.
The fact that he made it into what was it the LFA again team of the year, and he paid something, and like by that point he paid less than 10 games.
Yeah, I think,
and all of his goals have come from penalties. Maybe. Oh no, he scored a screamer, didn't he?
Yeah.
But Bruno Fernandes is superb.
I think the thing for Man United for me is the one thing we can never ever get away from is the caliber of players coming through from their youth squad are amazing.
Yeah,
and all you need is one or two of those to shine in that United squad.
Yeah,
and it does it for me.
Yeah, I think it will too. They've got that left back. Of course, they've got Rashford.
Yeah,
I mean Lingard's an exception. Did you see that he broke somebody's bet?
Yeah, that was the craziest bet.
No, he wouldn't get a single goal or an assist all season, and he lost the bet in the 96th minute, was it?
Yeah,
of the final game of the season?
95th or 96th minute, weren't it?
Denzel.
But yeah, I could see a couple of youth players coming through, and then they've gone through that rebuilding phase for me already.
They're buying one of Man City's youngest prospects. He scored 400 goals or something in the youth academy, and he's turned 16, and he's not signing for Man City, and he wants to sign for Man U. I could see him even making a breakthrough next season. I think they're that desperate for him that I think he'll be playing next season at some point.
You've already got Mason Greenwood for me. That's an amazing player.
Oh my god, I completely forgot.
And he's sitting there waiting to come through, and I think next season he could break through for me.
It's always good for a young lad. Shearer comes out and says that he'll beat the record for most goals in the Premier League.
Yeah. Mason Greenwood.
And that's coming from the guy that is holding that record. That is a claim and a half.
I think next season for me, you're going to see Mason Greenwood to become a household name for me.
Yeah. I completely agree. A couple of deadwood that they need to get rid of.
Yeah.
Does the get going as well, do you think? Do you think they need to cut their losses?
This is the thing. I'd say this is the team that should be looking at the Schmeichels. Yeah, a bit of nostalgia reason, but I could see it working.
With what, Schmeichel?
Yeah.
But do they need to? They've still got Henderson.
Just true, yeah. They could call him straight back up. I actually forgot it. Henderson's actually United player, isn't it?
Back at Man U now, so they can easily just sell De Gea, and they've got the money to spend on outfield players then because they've got Henderson. And for me, Henderson is the starting England goalkeeper at the minute, in my opinion. Well, to be fair, he's the highest. I believe he is the highest positioned English goalkeeper. So hopefully so. To be fair,
like they will.
Yeah. We will move on then to the final two. We won't talk about them too much because we talked about them a lot in our last podcast. The fact that Liverpool finished 99 points, 1 off 100 annoys me. Man City still finished on 81, which in any other season would be win you the league, wouldn't it?
Sorry, Dan, I've got to go back one more to Man United.
Oh yeah, you say the fact.
I told you earlier, and you love this. What is the difference between Liverpool Man United's points?
33.
And what was the difference between Man United and
Bournemouth?
Bournemouth's points?
32.
So Man United were closer to relegation than they were to Liverpool, and I'll just leave that there.
I think that's great. Yeah, I think that's great. Like you said, that gives us that stat because they won the last game of the season. But yeah, it would have been very symbolic if Liverpool had lost that last game and finished on 96.
Yeah, I'd love it to finish on 96. That would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Where Liverpool Man City go? Do you think Man City are going to go out and buy big?
Man City's transfer bans, European bans, they're allowed to play in Europe next season.
So, they're allowed to play in Europe, no transfer ban.
Yeah. So it was actually a European ban, wasn't it? It wasn't a transfer ban, it was a European ban.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, yes, that was. Oh, yes. So that was the idea that they could be banned from Europe and we could see the big players being off ski.
Yeah, but that's been lifted. So they're going to go and they're going to spend. They're going to want to spend. The thing is, I can't see where I would. They've got some great players there. You've got people like Silva retiring. Well, you've got Phil Foden coming through. Well, he's broken through. There's an instant replacement.
Well, they've already said that's what's going to be the replacement, haven't they?
We fully expect them to go out and spend big. I'm struggling to see where for me.
Yeah. I
can't see where and who.
I still think they're lacking a centre back. But apart from that, I think they're there. I think on another season they would have been the finished product and they would have walked the league.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Liverpool have obviously deserved the league this year. I do think 99 points and whatever we had the year before, they're freak elements. I think under a different manager, I think you wouldn't have seen Liverpool hit that many points.
I still think we've done really well, but then we spoke about other teams so-called overachieving. I think we've done it this year massively.
Oh, completely. Yeah. And I think this 81 points for Man City is probably where you'd expect them to finish. Still runaway leaders, but not in the 99, the 90 odd, the hundreds like they did. And Liverpool's the same. Anybody that can hit more than 90 has overachieved massively.
Definitely. So I can't see City are favourites next year to win it. They're evens, and I can't see them. I can't see us having as good a season as we have.
Not me, to be fair, mate. Not me. I could easily see City winning it, but it depends on the only position I think they might be their downfall is striker. It depends. It depends what year Aguero has again.
Yeah.
But yeah, we won't cover those ones too much because we've done it to death on here. But yeah. So basically, we're going to finish it off. I want your player of this year, your young player of this year, your manager of the year, and which side have been the best side of the year. So not your each player team of the year, but your whole side team of the year.
Oh, player of the year.
So player of the year, LFA player. LFA, is that right?
Yeah.
Was it LMA?
LFA. Nice. Yeah.
Anyway, Henderson won that.
Bit of a surprise for me, honestly. He's done well, but it's a bit of a surprise for me.
I think Henderson's had his best year ever. I think Henderson was probably our pivotal point for the team for this year because when Henderson didn't play, we didn't win, or we didn't play. We might have scraped wins, but we certainly weren't convincing.
I'm trying to go everyone apart from Liverpool, but it's really hard with a season that we've had.
Mine wouldn't be a Liverpool player though. Mine would be Kevin De Bruyne. I think he's had a superb season.
He has, and then I just can't see past Mane for what he's done this year for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Someone I always thought Salah was going to be our top man, and Mane's overshadowed him this year.
Yeah, completely agree. To be fair. So your young player of the year, I've got mine, and he doesn't play for either of the top two. And we've already mentioned him. For
me, the player that there's a couple of players that I think are really good, but the one that's been personally mine is Cantwell. I've gone from someone I've never even heard of to someone I think should be a top 5-6 starter.
That's interesting though, having a relegated player. No, mine mine would have been the lad that I actually forgot like 2 minutes ago, Mason Greenwood.
Yeah. For me, Camwell's just become from someone who's, like I said, never heard of, to someone I think should be playing Champions League level and Europa League level minimum.
Yeah. Manager of the year, basically, he's your manager of the year. Klopp or is it Wilder? Klopp for me too, mate. Team of the year?
I think it's Liverpool for what they've done.
Mine's close between Liverpool and Sheffield United, but I am going to be. No, I'm not going to be biased because I'm not. I don't think I'm very biased towards Liverpool. I actually think I'm probably a bit of a harsh critic towards Liverpool sometimes. But they're my team of the year as well. Which is
anyone that can go out and do what they've done and win the Premier League with 99 points.
Yeah,
they deserve it.
Yeah, completely agree. So, quick one: where do we think the Leeds and West Brom are going to finish next season? We don't know the playoffs yet, guys, because we filmed this on the 29th of July.
It's a hard one. I think they're going to be lower relegation. They're going to be both. I think they'll both be stuck in that relegation battle again. For me,
yeah, I think for me, West Brom, I think will go back down.
Leeds, that's what I was thinking. I think Leeds possibly could scrape it.
No, I think Leeds will finish between 13th and 10th. I reckon. I think I think they'll be safe.
That'd be a good year for them.
Yeah. Right, guys, that was a bit of a longer one. Bit of a nice review. Just sit back down and chat about football with Pete's nice without having to be moaned at by Link to football's rubbish.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed. Make sure that you leave a like or subscribe to the channel. Comment anything that we've got wrong that you disagree with. That players, even you let me know your player of the year, your young player of the year, your manager of the year, and the side of the year. We call it team of the year. That's the wrong one, but the side of the year. Which team was your best team of the year? Who's overachieved the best? I don't think there's anything else to say, mate.
No, we're all done.
Yeah. Cheers, then, guys. See you later. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Summer.